What's going on, everybody? This Afro Think Tank. There is nothing more embarrassing than pretendians, okay? There is nothing more embarrassing to me as an African American than pretendians, all right? Not the Hebrew Israelites, even though they Power Rangers and shit, and they got Power Ranger suits. At least, they at least point themselves in the right general direction, of where we come from. We are not the Jews because we are West Africans. We are Yoruba, we are Igbo, all right? We are Khan, we're Danke, okay? But our ancestors are Western Central Africans. The Western Central Africans who we have ancestry from, their ancestors, possibly, some of them were, Egyptians and Nubians. Our ancestors were those people, all right? But we like to skip, go, and collect our $200, right? So the Hebrew Israelites, I give them somewhat of a. They're not as embarrassed. I mean, they wear the Power Ranger suits, but they do talk a lot of shit. It's giant entertaining. Not as embarrassing. Embarrassing, but not as embarrassing. Nation of Islam, they're not embarrassing. They're not embarrassing at all, right? Even though, yet again, there's another Asian religion. Somehow we want to attach, we got to take that black power and we got to infuse it with Asian religion. Why can't we just use the black power by itself, right? They're not embarrassing, right? FBA, okay, they can be, the cult of Tariq Nasheed. They can be embarrassing, right? But overall, they're not really embarrassing. They're just annoying, right? But they're not like deep down you feel that shit, like shame, right? But pretendians, anytime I see a clear African with a Native American war dress on, full feathers, like you've been to war, okay? Like you've been to several battles, all right, killed many of men and saved many of villages. Like you are goddamn a superhero, as many goddamn feathers as these guys are wearing in their caps. They do not deserve, like that by itself is embarrassing, okay? But we, in our pretendian class, right, the embarrassing class, we're not by ourselves. You see, we the new kids on the block with the pretendian shit. And we have a legitimate excuse, all right? PTSD, all right? We have PTSD, post-traumatic slave syndrome. We have that, all right? And the reason why we, some people in our community claim Native American is because their grandmama told them. Keep in mind, their grandmama, I don't care who, listen, if you're my age, and you're talking about your grandmama, more than likely, your grandmama was not educated. Your grandmama was not a genealogist. Your grandmama didn't have access to, new data. Your grandmama probably couldn't read the damn data, right? Your grandma didn't know what the hell she was talking about. I'm sorry, you love your grandma. Your daddy didn't know, your grandma didn't know what she was talking about. What really happened is your grandmama's mama was raped by a white man. That's the shame within the African American community, that so many of our women were raped, and they had to hide that, because even to nowadays, women hide the fact that they get molested by men because it brings shame upon them as far as they're concerned. They don't want to come out with it, right? So back then, the black women would say, instead of my daddy is that white dude down the street that raped my mama, they just say it was some Indian. Easy cop out, right? But there is another pretendian, right, that don't got no excuse. And they are the OG pretendians. And they are more embarrassing than ours because they ain't got no excuse. And as an American, all right, as an American, and they are American, I get zero embarrassment. I don't get no second hand, no third, no fourth, nothing. I just get to enjoy it and make fun of them the same way everybody gets to make fun of us when it comes to them damn pretendians. We be good, we be tight till them pretendians come along and we like, God, why couldn't you just stick with Hebrew Israelites? That made more sense. Why couldn't you stick with that? Huh? Why couldn't you just be a Moor? At least Moors make sense. That's Africa, right? You couldn't do Moors or Hebrew Israelites or shit. You go be a Muslim. At least we in the right, geographical location. But damn, Indian, you Indian, right? And see, the mistake a lot of our African Americans are making, right, who subscribe to Indian, and they look at these people as the fake Indians, right? There are real native Indians, and they are melanated and dark. As a matter of fact, most of them are my complexion and darker, right? I know this is hard for a lot of black people in America who've never left the country to to get this concept. But there are other people in the world who also have brown skin. I know, right? Shocking. But there are other people in the world that have brown skin. Why? Because they got it from us. Because we are the indigenous population of the world, Craig. The world. You understand? Not North America, the world. I even hear people say, North America have been here longer than Africa. What does... You know how uneducated you got to be to say that North America, the landmass, has been around longer than the African landmass? You know how stupid you got to be to say some shit like that? Like, was the African landmass born or some shit? Was it born? Were they born two separate times? Were they, you know, these same people that say Pangea, we used to walk around in Pangea, even though that was umpteen hundred million years ago, and we were still swimming around in the ocean as little fishy. All right, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But what we're going to do today is enjoy other people pretending to be Native Americans. The OG pretendian, the $5 Indian, the white European. I'm starting to believe that white folks don't want to be white. I mean, everybody else seems to be want to be white, but white folks don't want to be white. They want to be everything but white. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there is nothing about whiteness white people seem to like. That's why they pretend to be everything else. Pretend to be Jews, pretend to be Africans in South Africa, pretend to be Polynesians and Melanesians and Micronesians. They pretend, you know, doing the Hakka dance after you done killed all the original people who used to do the Hakka dance. You know, pretending to be Native American. Y'all do a lot of pretending. Huh? And y'all never like to live in reality. There's only a few Europeans living in reality. Or they in Europe. Or they live and they are who they are. Not trying to pretend to be nothing else. But you ones who left Europe, you guys might need to reconnect, because maybe y'all don't see the value in your communities. Trying to be everybody else but who you are. There's some stuff you can find in your own culture, your own ancient culture. I got some culture. Y'all need to go find it. Y'all need to, you know, delete this white shit and go find your European culture. Y'all put feathers and shit. I'm sure there's the goddamn, you know, Norwegian or something. They got some goddamn white snowbird shit feather in their goddamn head and shit, right? Dancing around, you know, a block of ice or some shit like that, or, you know, y'all got that, right? Making big ass giant Nordic snowmans and shit and fucking worshiping those some bitches. You can do that like a snow totem. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But yeah, we're gonna make fun of these ones right here. Let's look at this. Let's enjoy these $5 Indians, right? Because just like Europeans, they attach themselves to something, and they suck all of the energy out of it, and when it dies, they move on to the next thing. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach them. I'm out.
Have you heard somebody say the phrase, my granny was Cherokee, my great-granny was Cherokee, my great-great-granny was Cherokee? You've heard it, right? Living in the South, living in Appalachia, Kentucky, where I live, you hear that all the time. And as someone who is Melungeon, who is Native, and who studies genealogy, I want to talk about something. A few years ago, when people would tell me that their granny was Cherokee, I would offer to do their family tree for free. I was like, oh, awesome, your granny's Cherokee. Do you know her name? And they would be like, no. And I would say, oh, well, let me do your family tree and I'll find it for you. So they would let me do that, right? Do you know how many times that I have looked in someone's family tree who claimed to be Cherokee and they actually had an African ancestor? So many times, like 95% of the time, their ancestor who was claimed Cherokee was actually black. So people would lie, right? Because historically speaking, there was a one-drop rule. And we know that both Native people and black people were heavily persecuted against, right? Endured the unthinkable. But people would lie because they did not want to face the hardships that black Americans faced, and they would say, well, I'm actually indigenous, when they were not. Now, there's a lot of people, I have seen a couple people who were actually right, and they did have an ancestor from Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, but 95% of the time, they actually had a black ancestor, and the other 5%, it was a white person. How many times have you heard somebody
What if we were wrong?
The issue is that the individuals in these groups do not
not have Abenaki ancestry.
The facts presented provoked strong reactions.
Who determines that?
I actually did the genealogies of every single family that they claim in their own documentation. And there's no Abenaki ancestors.
The American Abenakis say their personal experience is just as valid as blood quantum. But Rick Obamsawin, chief of the Abenaki Council of Odanak, reiterated the following.
I think the easiest way to respond to that is blood is blood.
So my family was one of those families, you know, we've got this much Cherokee in our ancestry, and they had some things to kind of back it up. There were like paintings or artifacts, you know, sort of things to be like, oh, actually, no, we do. So imagine their surprise when we did an ancestry test and none, zero, despite the glorious cheekbones, those not indigenous. But then where did these receipts come from to say that we did have this ancestry? It was a bit more sinister than the fam was expecting. Have you heard of the Cherokee land lotteries? I hadn't, but apparently my family won one. So when the Cherokees were ousted from their land, Trail of Tears, all of that, their land was lotteried off. My family bought into the raffle and won one of these plots of land with everything that was still on it from when the family was forcibly removed. This is why we had pictures and artifacts, things that my family just, you know, whitewashed into our story of, oh, this is part of our history, suppressing narratives that don't look good on our country. It's important that we tell our stories so that people can know the truth of what happened.
Yes, that part. See, this is what we talking about. And people get mad.
100% that my dad is not, in fact, Native American at all. In fact, he is 100% white. And so am I, unfortunately. So I confronted my dad about this. He continued to lie. So then I find out that not only did my dad fake being Native and is in a documentary, and the documentary was on PBS, played for an entire month of November. Not only did my dad do that, but he also stole from the government $12.5 million by pretending to be Native American. He, in the documentary, says that he's Ho-Chunk Winnebago.
Hello everyone. So today we are going to address some of the $5 Indian comments that I get on a lot of my posts. I understand that I'm mixed, I understand that I present as white, but I just want to make some things abundantly clear. I know my roots. I know my genealogy, I know my history, I know where I come from. I am an enrolled member of the Mohegan tribe, and my family did not pay $5 or any amount of money to make that happen. My name is Kiara Tantaquidgeon. I am the granddaughter of James Quidgeon and the great-granddaughter of Donald Tantaquidgeon. I am the great-great-granddaughter of Burl Winslow Tantaquidgeon and the great-great-great-niece of Gladys Tantaquidgeon. My family has been in the Mohegan tribe since its founding. My 11th great-grandfather was Sachem Uncas. This is all to say that I know who I am. Comments calling me a $5 Indian aren't going to change that. I am in the Creator Rewards program, so what they are going to do is continue to boost my videos and continue to make me money. So thank you for your donation.
A $5 Indian is a term in reference to white people who paid $5 to be on the DOS rolls to be counted as Cherokee and get Cherokee land. The term can be very problematic because it's thrown around as an insult to actual natives, so it really shouldn't be used. However, we as natives also use it when we're referring to people that were known $5 Indian. The original Dawes Rolls was actually thrown out because so many white people were trying to buy their way onto it. And when it was redone, most of those issues were fixed. So there aren't that many white people that actually bought their way in. And those that did, we actually know who those families are today. Governor Kevin Stitt.
So I'm a barista, and this woman, she's my regular. She comes up to my line. I'm like, hi, so-and-so, are you going to get so-and-so drink? She was like, oh, my God, yes. I love the things that you have in your hair. And I'm like, yeah, it's because of my heritage. I'm indigenous. I didn't even get to say anything. She cut me off. Oh my God, my granddad, he's indigenous. No, she said Indian. She's like, my granddad is Indian and my dad is like full blood Indian. And she said, my dad has the same big Indian nose that you have. It makes me want to go, oh my God, did you know I'm 20% white? Did you know I'm 20% white? Oh my God, I love Taylor Swift. I love having no seasonings on my food. I love Starbucks and ignoring real issues.
Pretendians are everywhere. Pretendians are primarily white people who falsely claim an indigenous identity. Pretendians fraudulently take up the places, spaces, and voices of real indigenous people. They also make it harder for real indigenous people to reconnect with their communities, especially those who have been disconnected by colonial laws and policies. And that includes the Indian Act rules, where the federal government decides who's an Indian and who isn't. They appropriate our stories, our cultures, everything about us for their own purposes. Can you understand why Indigenous peoples would be upset about pretendians doing all of this? Hi, my name is Dr. Pam Palmater. Follow me for more decolonization in action.
There is a group of non-natives in Vermont pretending to be Indigenous. They go by the name of the Abenaki tribe. This is their chief, Roger Longtoe. Longtoe. I cannot make this up. He didn't even try to give himself an indigenous name. He just kept his English name Roger and added Longtoe at the end. But although as ridiculous as this is dangerous to indigenous communities. I am specifically Kanien'kehá:ka Mohawk Nation, and the Abenaki tribe are trying to say that the Mohawk people, my people, stole our dances from their tribe. Realistically, the Abenaki tribe is a bunch of white people who spiritually feel native. Does this not sound like a group of Israelis who spiritually feel native to Israel? They're also claiming that other native nations stole from their culture, when in reality, they stole from everybody else's culture to make their own little pretendian tribe. This is information that they are teaching non-natives, even though they are non-native themselves, and teaching misinformation is dangerous. So if you're going to visit a native tribe and one of them tries to tell you that they are Chief Roger Longtoe, that's when you need to think for at least 3 seconds. Is this person actually telling the truth?
Did you hear about the Indian woman who spent decades representing her tribe and now she's being exposed because she's really white? You might remember Buffy St. Marie from Sesame Street because she was the Native American woman representing the indigenous culture on Sesame Street for many years, beginning in 1975. During the show, she sang original songs, showed herself doing beadwork, and told people all about life as a Native American after claiming that she was born on a reservation in Canada. But it turns out she's not Native American at all. She's actually a white woman from Boston, Massachusetts, and it was all an act, and people are angry about it. Buffy built her entire career and became a staunch activist for the Cree Native Americans, but her own family tried to tell everyone that it was all a lie, but nobody listened. After she was finally outed, she tried to explain that she adopted the persona based on her adoptive mother's culture, but people weren't trying to hear that. They found out that she was adopted not as a child, but at the age of 24, so she can't pull that card. Organizations like the Indigenous Women's Collective say they are hurt and angry by what she's done because she took away awards, fame, and opportunities from women who are really indigenous, and they could have used that platform. They say while she was pretending to be Native American, she took away actual awards, funding, and opportunities from real Native American women who could have benefited from it. And they're not the only one who's upset. The University of Toronto, which granted her an honorary doctorate degree, just announced that they're taking it back. This white woman has dedicated her entire life to representing the Cree Native Americans. Does it really matter that she's not really a Native American? What do you think of this story? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tiarka with the T. Follow for more.
Did you see this video of this white woman dressing up as an indigenous person to do an AI character and doing some really racist tropes. Listen to this.
Welcome to an AI Native American woman character live stream. Thank you so much for the fish. It is one of our main sources of food. Thank you for this beautiful canoe. Oh, you know me well. Thank you for the last of the Mohicans.
That's enough. She actually did this for about 5 minutes, and that video is very much still on her page. I don't know, maybe some people might be asking, does she have any indigenous in her? No, because she said it in a video herself. Watch.
No, my DNA kit test. Yes, that's up on my Lady Bedazzle Hannah YouTube channel. The test didn't say there was any Native American.
Yeah, see, no indigenous her. She's just cosplaying. And people's cultures are not costumes. And by the way, I thought she looked familiar before I saw this. This is the same white woman, well, when asked what is white culture, she responded, well, white culture is industrialization, intelligence, cleanliness. No, white culture is thievery. You stole the land from indigenous people to start your industrial revolution. You stole the ideas that the indigenous people have for government and put it in your government. And you also stole the idea of hygiene from indigenous people because when your ancestors got here, you guys didn't even know how to wash your ass. This is just hurtful and racist and wrong, but her page is very much still up.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Am I adopted?
Who told you? Yeah, you're adopted.
Someone said I'm a white chick pretending to be native.
You're not.
Take that, Gunk Bear 460.
That's funny.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is Precinct Officer Maya Shiala, and I'm here with
Jim Sawgrass.
This is Jim Sawgrass. Jim Sawgrass, just a few quick questions for you. What Indian tribe are you from?
My family are descendants of the Muskogee people, the Creeks. We live in Florida today. We're not from a federal tribe, but we do have a powwow down there, and I travel to powwows like this and teach and educate about the culture of the Creek Indians. I'm dressed from the 19th century during the removal period of the Creeks and Cherokees on the Trail of Tears.
Okay, all right. Well, that's pretty cool, man. What's the name of this event, and what does this event mean to you?
This is the Cherokee Mother's Day powwow. It's been going on for over 30 years. I think I've been part of it for most of those. It's a big honor to be invited to come back here every year and share traditions of the culture of southeastern Native people. Mostly, you've got lots of vendors here and lots of dancers, but not many of them are teaching the southeastern traditions like I have back here.
Okay.
Some of the stuff I have are things that they would have used for generational times to survive before European traders brought us cloth and metal tools and guns.
Okay, that's actually good right there. You got some pretty nice gear you made right there. That's pretty awesome, man. So,
Starfish.
Yeah, that's nice. Last question I got for you. So, being that the Europeans came over here and conquered this land pretty much, how were you able to hold on to your culture?
Traditions and cultures passed down from generation to generation through stories and legends, and of course you can read about our culture too, and lots of books that were written of different people that were around in the times. And so I take a little bit of each of those. I get words of the elders that I've been around my whole life, and the writings of the scholars from the day, and I put the two together to come up with a story.
Okay, cool. That's pretty cool, man. Well, there you have it, Israel. This is Precinct Officer Maya Shiala out of the ISUPK under Commander Junior Hanna. With that, I'll say shalom.
Did you know that Germans pretend to be Native American? They have powwows and dress up in Native American regalia. And if I'm being 100% honest, they're at least trying, because they're going the extra mile and putting the taxidermied fox on their head. And I have to give them just a little bit of credit, because instead of wearing a Spirit of Halloween costume, they try to go the extra mile to really look like us, or what they think we should look like. Now, this is called Indian enthusiasm, and it's a subculture and hobby of some Germans. It was inspired by Karl May's 19th century books, and it was all about an Apache warrior and his German friend. So Germans got this romanticized version of the Wild Wild West. And they get dressed up and they go to Indianeer camps, kind of like powwows for them. They set up teepees, they dress up. But the big problem here, and I know a lot of people are going to say, but they appreciate you guys. The biggest problem here is that if they appreciated us and they enjoyed our culture and they wanted to know more about it, that would be fine. But dressing up as a group of people who are resilient, still here, but also going through a genocide is never okay. We as Native people still wear our regalia today, which means that when we see this, it doesn't make a lot of sense to us. Because why would you want to dress up as a group of people for funsies or whatever if you knew all the atrocities that they historically went through and are currently going through? For example, Native American women are going through an MMIW crisis. We face the highest rates of assault, unaliving, etc. Many of us do not have access to clean water. We live in food deserts, lack of access to healthcare and mental health services, limited education options, and Native women make the least amount of money than anybody else in the United States. So if you really appreciated Native Americans and our culture, you wouldn't dress up as us. You would educate yourself on all of the issues we face presently. You would send aid or support, because this is not cheap. You're spending a lot of money on that. Imagine donating to Native American causes. There are just so many other ways to show support to Native individuals if you appreciate the culture. And if you can, come to the United States, attend a powwow, and be immersed in actual Native history, heritage, and culture.
White pretendians arraign Fox.
1950s. When Indigenous people were not allowed to wear our regalia, when we're not allowed to gather in more than 4 people. So Chimigwich for representing.
Hi.
How's it going? My grandmother just told me, on my father's side, my grandmother told me that we have Cheyenne blood running through our veins, and she said one of my ancestors was actually one of the few survivors of the Trail of Tears.
Fuck them again. Fuck them. Them and you is not friend. Fuck them. Them no need to be in your life. So why you making them cause you nothing but trouble and strife? Fuck them.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.